us senior artists, I think we set up this misnomer for newbies or semi-newbies that we are always working, we are always popping. I think I see it now. I see it. I wrote something on my Instagram to say to newbies and not so newbies that if you're not on a jet right now and you're not flying around with your celebrity artists, what you do is still very important. And when you see them flying off in a jet and when you see them sipping the champagne, you think they're doing that every day. Every day. That's what you see. So you think it happens all the time. I can tell you now, knowing many of them, they're not working every day either.
Welcome to the Friends in Beauty podcast, a safe space for ambitious beauty industry creatives to have real talk, get real answers, and practical tools to grow their businesses. My name is Aquia Robinson, and I'm a makeup artist, beauty educator, and the creator of Friends in Beauty. I created Friends in Beauty to support like-minded creatives, just like you, on their quest to connect, network, and build genuine relationships within the beauty community. Join me every week as me and my special guests reveal the keys to success and longevity in the beauty industry, and most importantly, have fun while doing it. You ready? Hey, what's up? It's your best friend in beauty, Aquia Robinson. Welcome back to another episode of the Friends in Beauty podcast. I am so happy to have you here, and I hope you're listening to this episode in high spirits and in good health. If you are a friend in beauty, I welcome you to join the Friends in Beauty Facebook community. If you're looking for a community of like-minded, ambitious friends in beauty to virtually connect with, network, and share resources, then click the link down below in the show description to join us in the Facebook community, and I'll be there to welcome you with open arms. Also, let's get social. Follow Friends in Beauty on all social media platforms at Friends in Beauty. Additionally, the Friends in Beauty podcast is available on several platforms. We're on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google, YouTube, you name it, we are there. And whatever platform you are listening from right now, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning into the Friends in Beauty podcast. I appreciate it more than you know. And I would love it even further if you took the time to leave a 5-star rating, a review, a like, a comment, a share, a subscribe, or something to let me know how you feel about the Friends in Beauty podcast. Additionally, Friends in Beauty is now on Patreon. So for as little as $3 a month, you can support the Friends in Beauty podcast. And there are also several tiers available that unlock Patreon exclusive content just for you, like behind the scenes content of the Friends in Beauty podcast, bonus interview clips, a monthly Ask Me Anything, discounts, and so much more. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'll leave the link down below in the show description for that as well. Also, if you'd like to stay connected even further, join the Friends in Beauty mailing list tribe. They are the first to know about all things Friends in Beauty, and I send out different resources and tips throughout the week. So if that's something that you're interested in, join us over there. And last but not least, listen up. The most important thing is to share the Friends in Beauty podcast with your other friends in beauty, your family, your friends, anybody that you think could benefit from the information that is being shared. Share away to help me grow the Friends in Beauty community. Now, on this episode of the Friends in Beauty podcast, I welcome DeShawn Hatcher to the Friends in Beauty guest chair. DeShawn is an accomplished professional editorial and beauty makeup artist. She is also a sought-after speaker and educator for top industry events and a columnist for 2 national beauty publications, along with her blog, DeShawnLovesMakeup. There she shares industry help to her fellow artists, 100K and growing. Her work has been featured in Elle, Vogue, and Harper's Bazaar, to name a few, and she has worked with celebrities Beyonce, Tom Cruise, Vanessa Williams, as well as her work for fashion shows for Tory Burch, Tommy Hilfiger, Philip Lim, and Christian Siriano. You can watch DeShawn on her YouTube channel, 200K plus, okay, views, where she shares more business than beauty information for her fellow fabulous makeup artists. As of 2019, DeShawn has collaborated with Gratopian Makeup, one of the leading industry professional makeup lines for TV and film and beauty. With Gratopian, DeShawn created the industry's first internationally best-selling multicultural foundation palette for people of color, inclusion. She is the author of Assisting Rules, the ultimate guide to assisting makeup artists and hairstylists in beauty, fashion, and print, sold all over the world. I am totally summarizing her bio because DeShawn is that girl, and she has done so much in the industry and for the industry, and it was truly an honor to have this conversation with her. In this interview, DeShawn shares what inspired her to write Assisting Rules, things that artists should absolutely avoid when assisting, the importance of doing your research, how her collaboration with Gratobian came about, plus tips for doing product development with brands, tips for dealing with imposter syndrome, exciting expansions to the Assisting Rules book, and so many amazing and educational stories sprinkled throughout. This was such a fun conversation that I know you will love and learn so much from. Let's go ahead and jump into this chat with DeShawn. And if you prefer to watch our beautiful faces, then tune in on YouTube. Enjoy. Welcome to the Friends of Beauty podcast, DeShawn.
Hello.
I'm so excited to have you. It's been a long time coming. I was just telling you, you were on my original list of people that I want to interview. So I'm so happy to have you here.
Oh, I'm really happy that you asked me. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I was telling people, since I started the podcast, shortly after I started it, people started to inquire to be on the podcast.
Oh.
And I was like, well, when am I going to get through the people that I actually want to talk to? So I had to pause on that for a little bit and start knocking down my list. So I'm back to, getting my list of people I want to talk to.
All right, honey.
So I love to start off with icebreakers to get us warmed up.
Okay.
So the Friends of Beauty audience can get to know you outside of beauty a little bit. So first one, just give us 3 random facts about you.
I'm a Libra because Libras love themselves. So I'm a Libra. Okay. Oh, my boyfriend's going to be like, ugh. He knows how much Libras love themselves. I left corporate America to come to makeup, and I grew up by the beach there.
Okay. Oh, I have these random things called pod decks. They have these random questions in it. One is a what the heck and a would you rather.
Oh.
Which one do you want?
Oh, I don't know. Would you rather?
Would you rather? Okay. Please give DeShawn an interesting but not too weird card because these things be weird sometimes. Oh, and I did that one before, but that was a good one though. I did that one. Let me see. Okay. Would you rather be single for a year? This includes not dating, or go on bad dates for a year straight.
Oh, come on. I'd rather not be. Child, who wants to go on bad dates? Okay, I'd rather be single. Okay.
I'd rather be single too.
That was easy. That was super easy.
Super duper easy. Oh my gosh, that was crazy.
Yeah, that was super easy. What woman wants to deal with that? Okay.
Nah, I'm good. What's something weird or interesting that you do when no one is watching? Got any quirky habits?
I talk to myself. I like to talk to myself. I think I'm quite interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something I do when nobody's around. I enjoy the conversation. I just, instead of having it in my head, I just have it out loud. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think my neighbors probably think, I talk out loud. I think my neighbors probably think there's somebody in here. But no, I'm just talking, sometimes I have these ideas in my head, I rattle them off and I talk and I say it out loud. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense to you? Da, 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 da. And I say it out loud because sometimes when you think in your head, it doesn't kind of come out right. Yeah. So you have to kind of work it out and talk it out. And if you ain't got nobody to talk to, you got to talk to yourself. Okay. So I guess that would be the thing that I do all the time.
Okay. Yeah. I love it. What is something that you're good at that people tell you that you're good at all the time aside from, makeup?
Oh, I just had my lovely friends here. This summer, I learned how to work with power tools. And so I've been like terrified of them my whole life. I always think I'm gonna cut my fingers off and stuff. So I never wanted to touch them. And I started building things this year. And so all of my friends are like, they're so like rah rah, like look what you did, look what you did. You know, they're like, can you build me something? Can you build me something? So I love it. So that's my new like thing is like power tools, and I even got saws. Oh, sure, I went buck wild crazy this year. I went buck wild crazy. So it would be that, and that would be the new thing that I guess people seem to think I do extremely well in. So I'll take that. Yeah.
Okay. What was the first thing that you built?
I built a 7-foot bench with a back, like it's a tall back, and it has like fretwork in it. So that's what I did.
Okay, I love that. I haven't gotten there yet. I'm still trying to drill things. That's
I love it. I don't know. It's how can I? It's weird. It's oddly, it's very loud, right? But it's oddly very calming. And it's very centering because you really have to focus on what you're doing, or you could cut your fingers off. So yeah, so I really like it. I really enjoyed it. In fact, I'm like a little upset that I have a garden space back here, and I'm kind of upset that I have completed the entire garden, and now I don't have anything to cut.
Right.
Like,
now you gotta do it for other people.
Yeah, so so it's just oddly very calming. So I really like it.
Okay. What's your favorite place that you travel to?
Aruba.
Ooh, Aruba.
Aruba.
Okay.
Aruba. And I was single. So so when you go to Aruba and you're single, yeah.
It was an experience.
Don't get me started. But now I have a boyfriend, so it'd be like, child, don't get me started. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But Aruba. Aruba.
Okay. And if you weren't a makeup artist, an educator, an author, YouTuber, what else could you see yourself doing?
A woodworker.
Okay.
I really do like it. I'm like shocked and cracked out of my head that I can't believe I really like it so much. So I really like it. So I guess I would try to do in my hand at that.
Okay. I love that. So you mentioned that you grew up near the beach. Like, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Rockaway Beach in Queens, New York. Yeah. So I grew up in Rockaway Beach, but I'm really technically I'm from Brooklyn because, people from Brooklyn, we like, I am really technically from Brooklyn, from the hood. And then, and then when I was a youngin', we moved to Rockaway, but my mother, she always made us, I always used to joke, and as a teenager, I would summer in East New York, so we always went back. We always went back home to East New York for like the summers and stuff like that, and hung out with my cousins and my friends, and, then just always back to Rockaway. So, but really I'm a Rockaway. I'm both. I'm like East New York / Rockaway.
Okay. I can understand that because I'm in DC. So anytime people say they're from DC, but they're like in Maryland, I'm like, no.
I know. I got into such an argument with somebody. They got so mad at me because I said, hey, where are you from? And he said, DC. And I said, oh, where? Like where? And then he said, well, I'm not in DC, but I'm in Maryland. But it's like right there, And I was just like, yeah, but that's not DC. You're in Maryland. Don't tell me where I am. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, here we go. Here we go. You people with that DC Maryland thing, it tickles me to death.
Right. But it's like
I'm very literal.
Brooklyn versus Queens, like,
you know what I'm saying? Like I'm a very literal person. So if you say, you're from something, I'm gonna take you at your word. And then when you ask people, further, then it's like, well, DeShawn, it's only a block. And I'm like, but that's not the point. The point is you ain't from there, So we can go back and forth with that DC thing. But it does tickle me. It really does tickle me.
Yes. So we're in the thick of like New York Fashion Week. Have you been doing any shows or going to any shows?
No, look at that. No. I moved all the way upstate. So no fashion shows for this girl. No. It's not like I don't miss it. I do miss it from time to time because I love the pace of it and the chaoticness of it all. And it's so much fun. But no, I just haven't, I really haven't been in a mood. You have to be in a mood.
Yeah.
it's a lot. You really have to be in the mood, and I'm just not in that mood. And when I am in that mood, I'll put out feelers like, hey, if you need anybody on your team, or sometimes if I reach out to designers, hey, do you need a key? You know, I would be happy to, you know, assemble a team for you, and that kind of thing. But no, I've just been chilling, cutting wood. Okay, that's what she been.
That's right. I never even thought about reaching out to designers, like being ahead of like the pack and be like, you know, do you need a key? Somebody to key.
Oh, you should do that. Yeah, I tell people that all the time, and people think I'm crazy, but I mean, I know designers that are already here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for up and coming designers, they need help. They need a team. They need all these things. Why not that be you? Why not you put together a team for somebody? You know what I mean? Everybody can work out of their kit. Why can't you do that? Why can't you lead the team? Why can't you be the key? It's easy. I mean, don't say so. It's not easy, but I'm saying that it's easy to reach out to people, you know, and give and get and make yourself an opportunity. If you really love fashion, in fact, and as I say, fashion, if you really like fashion and you really want to be doing runway, then you need to start reaching out to people, because they ain't gonna come get you in your house. Right. So you have to start reaching out and letting people know you're available, that you're interested, and if they need a team, you will be more than happy to provide a team as long as you're the key.
Yes. Okay. I love that. I think I might try to attend next season. I've never really got into fashion shows, so New York Fashion Week has never really excited me. But seeing everybody's posts this year, like it looks so nice. I think I might want to go to shows, but fashion shows are too chaotic for me.
Yeah, a lot of people can't take the pace.
Yeah,
it's a manic. I love it. It gets very quiet. It's very quiet in the beginning, and then it starts to, like, it does this, and it goes.
Yeah, I can't.
And it's a lot. It's really it's a great deal of, you know, and a lot of people can't take that pace. So I understand what you're saying. I'm a New Yorker, so I happen to understand a pace like that. So it doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah, yeah. Are you seeing any trends that you like, makeup wise?
Right now, I think thank you, Jesus. We are going back to a beautiful, not super clean aesthetic, but we're going back to this, I want to say not neutral either, like, yeah, neutral aesthetics I see, especially because the runway is telling us what's coming. Yes. So, and I think it's, wait a minute, which one is it? Winter, right? Which one was it? My brain is farting. Which one was it? It was spring, summer, right?
What, this one?
Yeah, spring, summer.
Or fall, winter?
No, it's spring, summer, because spring, summer's in the fall. This makes no sense. But spring, summer shows are in the fall, and then winter is in the summer. There we go. So this was spring, summer 2023 we were looking at, right? Oh God, my brain. Anyway, whatever it wasn't, if you notice, it didn't have a lot of dramatic, really, to me, what I've seen, I didn't find it to be so dramatic in terms of makeup. I saw a lot of dramatic hairstyles, but for me, I didn't see a lot of dramatics in the makeup, which made me happy, because we need a break. We need a break. Good Lord. And the eyebrows that stick, we need a break. Women need a break. We need to take pause, and, you know, and as I can see, yeah, the trends I see is more hair. So I've seen like a lot more hair stuck to the head, and yeah, just more like silky, not silky, but like wet looking, that kind of thing I've seen in several shows already. But makeup wise, it hasn't been too cuckoo.
Okay.
It's too cuckoo.
Yeah. How does the vision that you had for your career when you first started compare to what you've been able to do and where you are now?
It has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with what I ever thought it was going to be. I honestly thought I was going to be a film makeup artist, because that's what I went to school for. I went to school for film makeup. So that's what I thought I was going to be, you know, this grand film person. And then it turned out to be fashion, and it turned out to be the fashion world. And I never, I never thought I'd be here. But when I got here, I went, as we say, balls to the walls, because I said, if I'm going to be in fashion, then you have to be in what? Fashion magazines. And so I knew that that was the area that I wanted to be in. Once I crossed over from film to fashion, I knew I wanted to be an editorial artist, hands down. I really, really went after that. But 21 years ago, if you were to tell me this would be my world, or I guess my legacy, or whatever it may be, this ain't it. I would have never thought it would be like this. I just never thought it'd be like this. Never.
Was there like a learning curve, or what are some things that you had to do to adjust your artistry from film to doing fashion?
Yeah, film is different. Film, like, people think film is so easy. Film is not easy. Remember, like, our work is 80 feet. I think it's like sometimes some screens could be 60 to 80 feet wide and 60 feet high. So that means that everything has to be perfect, you know. And I started before all of, not before CGI or whatever, and not before filters per se, but you really had to get it perfect. And so skin was extremely important to get right. So when I crossed over to fashion, I had my skin game down. That I could do in my sleep, but it was all the extra nuances now that you move over to fashion that you just like, oh, I didn't know I was supposed to do that. And it was like, I was working in this photography studio when I first started with amazing photographer Fidel Barisha. And I had my film kit with me. And he was like, oh, honey, your makeup is beautiful, but you got it. Your mattes are killing me, because in film, you need a lot of matte makeup, right? Okay. But in fashion, it's, you know, shimmer and glimmer. And I didn't understand that when I had first started. So I had to run out to, I always say this, I had to run out to the drugstore and start buying like shimmers and glimmers and all that stuff, because I had no idea. Yeah. And so learning, kind of being creative and letting the brain snap, and then you just start painting, was the thing that was different. Because when I started film, I just was doing like what we call like straight films. It doesn't sound right when I say straight films, but what I mean by that, it wasn't like animatronics, it wasn't like special effects, it was just straight makeup. Yeah. And but the storylines never like required it didn't have like fashion in it, so they were just like everyday people, won't put it that way. Yeah. So when you get to fashion, you get to models, and you get to all this stuff, it's like, oh, you know, wow, okay, this is cool. So you could just, your brain can just snap. Yeah. In a different way. Yeah, because you get to, in fashion, you get, it's you, it's in your, it's what's in your brain that you put on the girl, as opposed to in film, it's scripts, it's dealing with directors, it's dealing with the actors, it's dealing with the actors' story in their head, what they think the person should look like. It's a lot of people kind of giving you direction. Whereas when I moved to fashion, nobody gave me direction except like, hey, Dee, we might be doing a 60s look today, but it was my choice to do whatever I wanted. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's where that break came from, that I was like, oh, I can do what I want. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so that's because you get kind of stuck in like a routine, even now. Yes. Because I mostly do like special occasions and, you know, everyday people. But when I get to do photo shoots, then it's like, okay, now I get to play and do what I want to do, because people kind of want the same thing over and over. So it takes you there, and you can be creative, and you can dream and imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that also happened in fashion as well, because, you know, when things get trendy, then people keep asking for it. And unfortunately, I used to do the heroine look, which was big in the 2000s, right? And it was just, you know, come on, it was just, you know, it was normally white, you know, white models, and to make them look pale and gaunt and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And they loved when I did that. And everybody would be asking me, hey, DeShawn, can you do that heroine look for me? And I was like,
again,
if you ask me to do that one more time. And so I learned, especially doing editorials, I learned to be a little bit more selective in what I wanted to do, because it started to get repetitive a lot and I started to get bored. And I decided to say no, like you don't have to work on everything. So I just learned how to say, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to do something else. Or I would use testing to allow my brain to, I would do more testing. So if I was doing, there was times that I had like sometimes 6 magazines on the newsstand, right? So I'd go up and grab all my magazines. But during that time, I would also test a lot as well, because I wanted to do what I wanted to do. Now you know what I mean? Like I wasn't getting the opportunity to do me. I was getting that direction again from magazines and from editors and from all of this stuff. And so I was like, yo, I just want to do me. I just want to do what I want to do.
Yes.
And so that's where the testing comes in. And that's where I, was able to do some wackadoo things,
Okay.
Yeah, you still get direction. Testing is where you get to fly. But when you do cross over and you do become an editorial artist, you do have people to answer to. I will do something amazing in my mind. I will do something amazing in my mind, and they'll walk over and say, yeah, that lip, can you change that lip? And be like, okay, like, all right, because you have to realize when you cross over into the editorial world, this is not your shoot. This is not, you're doing it for someone else. And so you have to realize that. So that's the funkiness about it. But that's why testing is so important, because it does give you an opportunity to just go out there and like play and create and let your mind go.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there any things that you did in the beginning of your career in the beginning of your career that set you up for success today? Not necessarily or habits that you adopted maybe in the beginning that kind of set you up for, where you are now?
I really think it came from film school, because I had a really good teacher. I always talk about my teacher. I love my teachers. I always love all my teachers. And Barry Berger, he made a point of like making points of saying, when you're on a set, come on, honey, when we're working with one person, right? And he told me when I was in school, he said, you have to realize that everybody's looking at you. You're so into this that you don't realize that people are listening to you. People are paying attention to your demeanor on set. And you're not the only 2 people in the room. And that stuck with me. And to this day, it sticks with me, because he's right, because people are looking at you, and directors are looking at you, and photographers are looking at you, how you interact with that person. And if you're diva, if you're there's a lot of things that people just don't like, diva, loud, cackling too much, all that stuff. You have to be cognizant of the view. And that's the one thing that I got from him, that I took to this day. I take it all the way. Everything I do, I go, there are people watching you.
Absolutely.
That's the most important thing to me.
Yeah, I love that. What's a typical day in your life look like now when you're in work mode, when you have jobs kind of like lined up?
Yeah, I mean, basically, get the job, refresh the kit. We have to, people just think that I tend to, I do have a kit that is kind of set, but then, you depending on what it is I'm doing. Like the other day, I had to do male grooming. I haven't done male grooming in so long, and I was like,
Yeah.
I had to go out and get some razors and all this stuff. And I was like, damn. So I had to rearrange my kit, because I was just working on men. So it's a normal thing where you get the photos or the direction from people, what you're doing, then you go to your kit, then you make sure everything is immaculately clean. I cannot stress that. I cannot stress that. Everything must be immaculately clean. And so even though I know I clean it before I leave a set, and I really do, I still go in and spray it all back down again, and wipe and make sure everything's wiped down. So I do that. Every piece of everything that's in there gets wiped down. So that could take like an hour or so to clean it, to re-clean it and sanitize it. So that takes time. And then just getting a set. I mean, that's what normally I do before every shoot. Is I will go back into the bag, pull everything out, make sure everything's clean, spray everything down, put it back in, and then just go to set. So it's not that dramatic. But I think people think that having a I can't say it, like just having the kit and you don't have to change it out. Yeah. And you do have to change your kit. You know, my kit is pretty small now, but still I go in and I have to change and modify it. You know, I just don't walk in the set and go, you know, I got it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, people are always surprised when they see my kit, because my kit is a lot smaller than, you know, most makeup artists who carry around like 10 bags and everything. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I used to have suitcases. I used to bring suitcases with me. At least 2 big suitcases came with me. And if I had to do hair, then it was the 2, depending on, especially when the difference is when you're doing fashion, and sometimes you don't know what they want. You have to bring your life with you because you just don't know what they want. Or if it's playtime, you don't know. Sometimes you might conjure up something in your head. So you want all of your world with you. So I used to carry suitcases that were like that tall. And it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. But when I started to do more like mainstreamy, commercially stuff, that kit went bloop. It went really small because you don't need to bring it all with you. Mm-hmm. The whole thing doesn't have to come with you. So it's like what you just said, your kit is really small because you're not doing all these things. You don't need the like rhinestones in every color. Yeah. You know what I mean? You don't need feathers. You don't need feather lashes. You don't need all of that. You need a strict kit. See? The same thing with me now, especially when I do commercial, I need a strict kit. No need to bring all this stuff with me. Absolutely. So, we live and learn, honey. We break our backs, we live and learn.
Yeah, yeah. Are there any mindset changes or any obstacles that you had to like overcome just to be where you are today?
There's so many. It's not easy. I want to say like, how odd is it that your childhood crap can kick in when you're on set? Like you think to yourself, like, am I being bullied on set? Like, could be really catty and bitchy, and you're like, you just feel like you just got snapped back into high school or something, and you're hanging out with the mean girls and with the mean boys or whatever. Mm-hmm. And you're like, what is happening? So it's like weird little things like that, that you don't expect. Yeah. You don't expect to feel like you just got sucked back into like junior high or something like that.
That's interesting. I never heard that concept before. Yeah. Is there bullying going on set?
What it is again, in professional, it could be very, who are you? Mm-hmm. Okay. It could be very that sometimes, and it just, I don't like it. Mm-hmm. It could be very pretentious and very snobby and, everything has its flip side. You know what I'm saying? But that it's few and far between. But I have come home from sets in tears, in complete, like, I don't go back. I don't want to go. So yeah, I mean, you have those days that you just, I don't want to do this anymore. So yes, have I had those days?
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yes, but I think a lot of my fellow makeup, hair, all of us creatives have those days where you just go, why did I pick this mother effing, industry? Why, Mm-hmm. And you sit there and you have the ugly cry, and then you get over it and you go right back.
Right, because you still love it.
Because you still love it.
Yes. So where were you, or what was going on in your world when you wrote Assisting Rules?
Oh, when I wrote Assisting Rules.
What was going on, and why did you think that book was needed?
Oh, because my assistant is somebody I trusted very, 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 very much. And I considered like almost, she wasn't quite, but almost like family to me. Stabbed me. I always, now because of the show, I always say she Game of Thrones me. She just that's what she did. Okay. And it hurt. It really, I can't even describe the pain of somebody who turns on you. It's very painful. Mm-hmm. And I was very angry for a very long time, and I didn't want to have any assistance and all these things. And it was like maybe I think it's around year two or three after that. I said to myself, is there anything on assisting? Because I said, if she knew the rules, if perhaps she knew the rules, maybe she wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
And I realized that there was nothing. And I had also started writing blog stories about assisting on my blog.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that like the first one had gotten, a lot of hits. at the time I had a very little cute little blog that a few people read, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then I did that story. I can't remember the very first story, but when I did the story in my style of writing, it seemed to click with people. Mm-hmm. And then I said, okay, well, I'll just do another one months and months and months later. And then I saw that boom, that one took off. And then the very, very last one I had done, it went through the roof. I had like over 100,000 people looking at that one. It was shared all over the world. It's written in different languages. And I said, wow, what the hell is going on? And then something told me they really need to know what assisting is. And I remember when I was an assistant and when I first started, I didn't know the rules. Mm-hmm. You just get the gig and you think, I'll do what I do and that's it. But then when you break rules that you didn't know were rules, right. Then people come at you and you're like, well, I don't understand. Why? What did I do with it? And I felt it was very important for us assistants to understand the rules, all the rules that were there. Mm-hmm. And so the first, as I say, the first iteration of assisting rules, honest to God, was cursing. The whole thing was I was cursing. Don't do this, but don't do that. Because I was so angry. I was still angry and I was still carrying around that hurt and that pain. And then after this, the assisting rules that we have today is version number 4. Okay. Because it was cursing. And I kept saying it felt more like I was yelling at people because I was so angry. Uh-huh. And then I said, well, you can't write a book like that, DeShawn. You can't be yelling at people like a crazy person. And then finally, the last thing was, I got more relaxed and I said, okay, now you got it out. Now let's write, let's finish. Let's clean this up and make it actually helpful instead of yelling at people. And so that's where they came from. That's where it came from. Assistant came from the fact that my assistant Game of Thrones me.
Oh my God. That's one of the things I really enjoyed when I look back at it. I loved assisting. I used to assist, I think the first person I assisted was Morel Hollis.
Aww.
Yeah, he came down here to DC to do something at Bennett Career Institute.
Uh-huh.
And I assisted him. And then after that, he was like, oh, I really enjoyed you. I want you to come to New York one day. And I was like, yeah, okay. And it was like a whole year later when he reached out. I was persistent too. One thing about me is he said he wanted me to come one day. So I just kept reaching out to him every now and then just to follow up. And then maybe the next year he remembered oh yeah, I got to get this girl in here.
Exactly. That's why I keep saying that's why the book was so important, because a lot of times, even for me, where people say, I want to assist you, and then you will hit me up once in a year. Mm-hmm. And then I'll get I might see you at the show or something. And then all of a sudden you'll be like, I wrote you never. And I was like, I'm sorry, honey, I don't remember. And I'm like, well, when did you do that? Oh, last year. I said, girl, I'm not running after you. You don't want the job. I'm not running after you. Exactly. And that's why there are rules. You know what I mean? That's why there are rules. And what you did was rule number, whatever it is in the book. That's what you did. You were persistent. You didn't stop contacting him. Mm-hmm. You kept in his head. It was like this. Nobody's ignoring you. It's just that we have things we're doing. And we just need to keep knock, knock, knock. Hello, remember me? That's what you have to just keep doing. That's all it is. That's all it is. But people think I reached out to you once, or I met you at the show. I gave you my card. Well, why didn't you call me? Well, I'm calling you. It's people don't get it. It's a job, and people don't seem to understand that. It's an actual job. Mm-hmm. It's not a hookup. It's a job.
Exactly. What are some common mistakes or rules that you see getting broken time and time again? Maybe 3.
Ooh, well, that. There's so many. Okay, so I'll give you my pet peeve. My pet peeve is like when new assistants, before the book, they would go through my kit and they would start touching my stuff.
Oh gosh.
Yes, they would open up the thing and be like, oh my God, DeShawn, what is this? And then they put their fingers in it.
Ooh.
And that sets me to a stratosphere of I can't even breathe. I can't even breathe. And I try to contain myself because I couldn't ticky. And I hate that. I just can't. I'm not Sephora. I always say this all the time. My kit is not Sephora. It is not something you run around and stick your fingers in, you know? So that's one thing. Please don't stick your fingers in people. And, you know, if you're unpacking kits and you're looking at things, do not stick your fingers in people's makeup. I don't know why you have to tell people that, but don't do that. What's the other thing that I could think of for assistants? There's so many. Oh my God, help me. Oh, you know what? It's so small, but it's so big. Lower your damn voices. It's so small. It's such a minuscule thing to say, but it's like these people, like I've had assistants and I love 98% of my assistants, but I had this one assistant who I adore. So loud.
Those voices be projecting.
Hey, DeShawn. I was like, girl, you gotta lower your voice. Not, you know, it's too loud. You gotta bring it down. You gotta bring it down. So lower your voice. And it's not time to kiki. So people think that when we have downtime, then it's time for you to tell me your personal issues. I was dating this guy, you know, like, not now. Don't talk to me now. Again, remember what I said earlier, which is everybody's looking at you. This is not the time to talk about your personal business. It's just not. So keep personal business offset. A lot of times, like after certain gigs, most of my gigs, I take my assistants to really great dinners and stuff because I like good food and beautiful restaurants. So they always come with me, and then that is the time that they know. Hit me with whatever you got. Hit me, you know, we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Or you can say, I saw you do something on set. What was that? You know, or can I ask you a question about my career? And I'm always happy to sit down at dinner. We'll sit down. We'll sit there for hours sometimes and just talk, you know, but the set is just not the place to do that. That's all.
Time and place. I think a lot of the things too, people unfortunately had to just learn like just from doing it, because some people might get in their head like, oh, gotta read DeShawn's book from front to cover before I assist. Yeah,
you should. Like, be honest to God. I wrote it for that reason. I wrote it so when you actually got to set, you wouldn't jack up your opportunity. That's why I wrote it, because you would be amazed that a loud talking assistant is something, though I may love you, I won't call you back.
Right.
There are things that people do on set that they don't understand, that they will not be asked back. And it could be to you the smallest thing, like, oh, I can't believe, you know, that bothered you, but that's why I wrote it. That's why I won't take assistants until they read that whole book. And then I ask them questions. I know who read that book and I know who didn't read that book. I can tell by the way people reach out to me who read that book and who didn't. I can tell. And so I have people write me from all over the world, and they say some keys have actually written to me and said, DeShawn, thank you for that book, because she was the best assistant I ever had. Thank you for that book. He was the best assistant I ever had. See, because when you are a good assistant, we give you things, we give you jobs. You get to come with us on major things. You know what I mean? So, you know, that you have to me, I'm sorry, it's my book, yes, but you have to read that book. You know, you can't now, you see, here's the deal, see, here's the funk. You can't tell me now, I don't know anything about assisting. You know what I'm saying? Before the book, I would have let that go. I understand you don't know the rules. So I get it that you make mistakes. You don't have that power. You don't have that power anymore to say, I didn't know. There's a book all about it. So it's up to you to read it and really take it in and learn from it. Because there's no excuses anymore. There's just no excuses.
Yeah, some things I guess I just learned as I went too, because I don't even think I had the book at the time when I was assisting. I just kind of learned as I went. And then I guess you realize common sense isn't so common, because I think a lot of the things that, you know, I done that have made me successful is because I just thought it was common sense. Like, that's just not what you do. And another thing that I learned as far as assisting that I want to share is that I remember assisting Morel on like an Essence shoot, and it was 4 different women, and we were working with Laverne Cox in particular, but she had her makeup artist, she had her hairstylist, the hairstylist had her assistant, and I was Morel's assistant. And one thing that I learned from being on that set is just like, assistants sit with assistants, and the keys can sit with the keys unless they invite you over to sit with them. It's kind of like a hierarchy thing. So like, not to be too, like, not to insert yourself too much unless they like invite you over to come sit with them. Kind of like stay with your crew, stay with the assistant and everything like that.
The reason why that also happens is a lot of times, like sets like that, if there are multiple makeup artists, let's say on set, right? We never get a chance to see each other.
Yeah.
And so we want to kiki, we want to go off to the side and talk. And here comes the assistant, and they're like, "Oh, what are you talking about?" It's like, no. Go, we're talking. So that's the thing. It's like, or we just met each other. We want to know each other. I don't know you. So that's, you don't know the relationships that are on these sets. And I say it all the time. Like, I have assistants who I'm talking to somebody and they just walk right over. What are you talking about? And I'm like, go. This conversation isn't for you. I promise you, if there's something I need to tell you, I will tell you, but please remove yourself from the conversation. And so again, that's another rule in the book. Nobody ain't talking to you. Go over there. You don't have to be in on the conversation, because every conversation is not, you're not privy to that information. And so it's like little things like that. So yeah, assistants normally sit with assistants, and the keys want to sit together because we just probably haven't seen each other in a long time, or I just met you and I've always wanted to meet this other key, and oh, this is so much fun, and that kind of thing.
Yeah. One thing I love that you shared in the book about like doing your research. I love that, because when I was teaching at Bennett prior to the pandemic, because the pandemic shut that down, but I used to have my students do research projects on different makeup artists. So I would just put like different makeup artists in like a bowl and have them randomly like pick out people like Sam Fine and of course Kevin Aquad, and things like that, so they could research these people, because these are up and coming makeup artists. So I think like the Sam Fines and things like that aren't necessarily their era of makeup. So a lot of them did not even know who Sam Fine was.
I'm shocked.
Roxana, like no, like they did not know who these people were. So I love the story that you shared in your book about Kevin Aquan. Like, could you tell us that story? Like, just recap it real quick for the Friends of Beauty podcast. And I think it's just so, I love it.
Okay. I love it too. It was the first story I'd written for the book. I said, okay, I guess I'm going to put some stories in the book, and because it just, I just came back from the makeup show, and that really just happened. And so it's so fresh in my mind. So I said, okay, I'm gonna write this story. So basically everybody well, the makeup show is in New York City, it's all over the country, but it's in New York City. And every single time I'm there, even if I'm not buying anything, I will go by the Kevin Aquan booth. That's just something I do. And I just, I just love him. He's the reason why I wanted to be a makeup artist. And so I always feel like this thing, I want to pay my respects.
Yeah.
I walk by, and these 2 girls, oh my God, Kevin is, oh my God. And they were just like singing his praises, and they were so excited about him. And I was like, and I wanted to say, me too, I love him too. Oh my God, but I was like, no, mind your business, I'm not talking to you. And I just was listening, and I just thought they were so adorable, and they really wanted to work for Kevin. And I was like, oh, this is lovely. You're standing in front of the booth, blah, 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 blah. And then, and then they get to talk to the person behind the table, the booth. And then they go, are you Kevin? And I did. And then the guy behind me was like, and then he could, like, we locked eyes for a minute. It was like this, like,
wait,
like he could see the look on my face. Like he saw the, like, what? And I'm like, and then we locked eyes, and he just, within like a second, he was so sweet to them. He was like, oh no, Kevin passed away like at the time, like 8 years ago or something like that. Right. And they just looked like, like, oh my God, like,
Yeah, like his
And I just was like, you dumb biatches. How do you not know the man is dead? Like, what the F? You know?
Yes.
Like, come on. Are you ever going to work for this company? Are you going to get your chance today? No,
Not
you will
today.
not get your chance today. You have just blown your chance. And if that gentleman is there, or you go for a job interview and he's there, you might have blown your chance again. You know what I'm saying? Like, boy, oh, I mean, the man is dead.
Yes.
You were like, are you Kevin? I was like,
But you want to work for the company, you don't know that.
what? Are you, did they just say, are you Kevin? I was like,
That is crazy. That's why it's so important to do your research, because how can you really want to work for a company and you don't know that information?
could you imagine? Could you imagine? That is cracked out of its mind. Girl, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't. The look on his face looking at me, I'm sure my face it must have been like, what? You know, I can't imagine what I look like. And then he was so lovely to them, but yeah, don't do that. Learn the history. Learn, if you want to work for a company, then look up the company, right? Look up the company. That's what I had to do when I was in corporate America before I got to makeup. If you wanted a job, you would have to look up the company, right? You know, you need to find the history on that company. You need to find out who might be interviewing you. You might need to find out little jewels about the company that you might drop in an interview to make it sound like you know what you're talking about, right? Just common sense. Girl, them two girls didn't have no common sense, not one iota of common sense.
Well, they know now. Hopefully
They don't they know now? I don't know if they ever went back to that booth. I don't know. If that was me, I would never go back.
circle around.
I would be so embarrassed. I would be so embarrassed. I would never go back. We're like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. Oh my God. It was embarrassing.
That was so funny. Look, I have your book right here too.
Yeah.
How have you been able to leverage this book as a makeup artist, and like, has it opened other doors for you as an author?
I get to talk to you. I get to speak. It's really cool. Well, you can see I like to talk. So, you know, talking ain't never been my problem. Okay. But I like to talk. And I also, it's just a new avenue for me to teach, because I do like to teach. And so it is a fun topic for me, because I love assisting, like you love assisting. I love assisting too. And it changed my whole life. It did. It really, honest to God, it just, my career went from, you know, okay, to boom, you know, you know? And so I love it. And I don't want to see anyone blow an opportunity, because it can open doors for you that you never knew, was there. Do you know what I mean? And so I like the opportunity to run around and speak. I like the opportunity to go to the shows and speak, and things like that. We are working on a PR package for me now. So we have things coming up for me, quite exciting. Yeah, so that's, you know, it's cool.
I love that. Have you ever played Never Have I Ever before, like the drinking game?
No.
Okay, so there's a drinking game called Never Have I Ever, and it's typically like crazy things. And if you've done it before, you got to like take a shot. But I have a different.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't think I played it, but I know that game. Yeah.
Okay. So I have a different version on the podcast where I'll give you a Never Have I Ever statement, and then this has happened to you before. Like, explain the story behind it.
I got a coffee.
Or if it hasn't happened, share the advice that you would give a makeup artist that would have to do this.
Okay.
All right. So the Never Have I Ever statement I have for you is, never have I ever had to fire an assistant on the spot. Have you ever had to do that before?
Hell yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Bye. Oh yeah.
What did they do? Hey, I know you're enjoying the episode, but I have something to tell you real quick. Did you know that I created a Patreon? Look, podcasting is fun. I absolutely love it, but it is not cheap. And there have been so many people who have reached out to me that want to support the show somehow and keep the good vibes flowing. So I thought, why not create a Patreon? For as little as $3 a month,
You can support the Friends of Beauty podcast and join a community of other loyal supporters of the show, just like you, okay? There are other tier levels available that unlock tons of exclusive Patreon-only content like behind-the-scenes clips, bonus interview content, monthly calls with me, discounts, and so much more. But no matter what tier level you decide to choose, I appreciate you so much, and I'm going to give you a shout out on the podcast when you join. So if you'd like to be a part of the exclusive Patreon community for the Friends of Beauty podcast, I'll leave the link right here and down below in the show notes for you to join. And as always, I appreciate your support so much. Now, let's go ahead and jump back into the episode.
Well, one, it was she was an assistant. She was part of my team. I was doing this show in Miami, and a big show, a 24-hour show. And I specifically, this is before the book, by the way, so I specifically said, do not bother these celebrities, because we had celebrities all over the place. Do not bother them. Do not take pictures with them. Don't do nothing with them. Leave them the F alone. It was one of the biggest stipulations I had about working backstage. So I had to leave backstage, and the celebrities were in there. I had to leave. I had to go to the bathroom, basically. I went to the bathroom. I came back, and everybody, the whole team ran to me. When I came in, she took pictures with the people. She took pictures with the people. And I said, what? And I was like, good God. And we didn't even really get started. I was like, good God, why? And so I sat her down. You know, I don't just say, you fired. I want to hear what happened, you know, because they're telling me something, but I want to hear her side. So I pull her in the back and I say, okay, honey, what happened? You know, what did you do? Oh, I took pictures with this person. I said, but I told you not to do that. She goes, and then this is the thing that triggers DeShawn that makes you crazy. When assistants say to me, oh, I thought you said. You
knew what it was.
It's like, that makes me go, boom. And I said, well, can you understand what I'm saying now? You have to leave now. You cannot stay here. You have to go. And she was just like, I said, you can't stay here. You need to leave. You're done. And she just was like, she was shocked. And I was like, I can't have somebody who can't follow a simple order. This was at the time, this was a 24-hour show. I'm responsible for 80 people. I'm responsible running this backstage thing. I can't. Right. I can't. She had to go. She was fired within, I came back from the bathroom within a matter of 3 minutes. She was fired.
Wow.
Fired and escorted out. Escorted out.
And that's out. Like these days, I think people just want to capture it for the gram, or
that's the problem. Put the damn phone away. You got to stop that. You know, like I know that you see senior artists doing that. And I understand that you see senior artists doing their pictures and this and that, but you got to be careful. You're not the senior artist. Right. And you running around doing that and posting things and look at where I am. It's just not, don't do that.
Right. Yeah.
You will get fired.
I learned that too, you know, especially being on certain types of sets where they don't want the footage to be out.
Yeah. I was on a closed set. We were on a closed set, like closed. And thank God it wasn't my people. But some idiot literally took a picture and we were on set. Do you know that the company found out about that picture while we were working and told everybody, shut it down. They're about to shut it down because this one person who was not mine decided to take pictures and post it on Instagram. Wow. And the company found out. People keep thinking, oh, we'll never know. We know all the time. So yeah, I have fired people. I fired more than her. Okay.
Oh gosh, I cannot imagine. I know I had to do it one day, maybe, but like, oof.
You do. If you want to be a key, you really want to be a key, you will have to set those boundaries. You have to fire people like that. You cannot give 18 different chances. Sometimes you can't even give one, depending on what they have done, you know. But if you can't, again, if she said to me, DeShawn, if she said to me this, honestly, if she said, I'm sorry, I just got so excited. I really love him. I'm really, really sorry, DeShawn. I promise I'm gonna put my phone away, blah, blah, blah. But when she said, I thought you said. That told me right there, this girl's not listening. She gonna do what she wants to do backstage, and I can't have her. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
It was her reply that got her ass fired.
Right. Trying to be slick.
She's trying to be slick. Bye.
That's so crazy. This is so random, but our physical portfolio is still a thing, or are people more so into the digital?
I'm still into physical books. I just am. In fact, my book was like literally right here just not too long ago. No, I was over there. Yeah, my book is, I still like a book. You don't have to, see, here's the deal. You don't have to do it like we did back in the day, right? You don't have to run out and get the big black book anymore, right? But to have a beautiful, large scale presentation of your work, come on. How could you be like, nah, I don't want to do that? This is a huge difference in a little screen versus a picture versus something that's this big.
Yeah.
Especially it's a beauty shot. It's just the most gorgeous thing you could ever see. So that's why just in terms of presentation alone, it's more impactful to have a portfolio of some size than to have flip, or look at my phone. It just doesn't have the same reaction that a big scale portfolio does. It just doesn't. And again, it's all about presentation. Is it about industry anymore? No, but it's about your presentation, setting yourself apart from other artists, because so many people are lazy these days. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. But when you do have that printout, I'm telling you, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. You cannot argue with it.
Okay.
So you could be lazy and go the digital route. I'm telling you, people who have a book in their hand and they walk up to somebody, they're going to get that job. You're not going to get that job.
I love that. I love that. So you helped develop the inclusion palette for Graftopian. I saw that it sold out earlier this year. Like, how did that opportunity come about? And like, what was like the behind the scenes process for doing that palette?
Oh, honey, that palette was, we're both makeup artists. So like when I had first started, I got so tired of running to so many different places just to make a Black girl palette. Because we have to have more than 4 colors. Okay. And so running around and grabbing all of these different companies and putting it together in one little, it was just too much. And I just kept saying, how come we don't have a palette like this? I don't understand. I'm very naive. I can be very naive. Like, I don't understand why you don't have a Black girl palette. Yeah. And I was just like, I don't understand. What's the problem? I see all these other palettes, like, where's our palette, And so since like really honestly, since like day 2 of me running around putting together my very first kit, I always wanted inclusion. I always wanted something like that. And I dreamt and I, ran around, put my little palette together no matter. And then what was I doing with Graftopian? I was doing something with Graftopian. Now I can't remember what I was doing. I just happened to love Graftopian. And I was like, oh man, and they had Black girl colors or people of color colors, you know what I'm saying? And I was just like, oh man, if I could just and that's what I was doing. I was putting it together and I was like, oh, if we could just have it in a palette, oh, that would be so cool. And then I reached out and I said, I have an idea. And I told them about the palette. The other thing is like, here's one of the reasons why I was very tentative of doing it in the first place, because I had already been using Graftopian for like, I don't know, 10 years. Okay. But you're always afraid to tell people an idea, because in the industry, they'll just take it and they'll run with it and they won't include you. So they'll take it, they'll say, oh, good idea. And then inclusion is created. And then you're like, but I told you, you know what I mean? So I was always fearful of that. But I always felt like with Graftopian and with the people at Graftopian, they seemed so sweet. And I would meet them at the show every year. And I would always make a point of like introducing myself and running over and giving Eric a hug, who owns the company, and everybody a hug and just say, hey, it's so nice to see you guys, that kind of thing. So I felt comfortable in approaching them with my idea. And I approached them with the idea, like, let's see, now it's like year 2, right, with inclusion. So, right, or was it year 3? Now she's losing her mind. Anyway, whatever year it was, I had approached them 3 years prior. So they said, oh, your idea is great, DeShawn, but we don't have the facility to do that right now. We are working on XYZ. We can't do it. It's a great idea. We like it. Why not? Let's try it.
Yeah.
And then I said, okay. And then I was like, okay, well, I guess, this is the only company you want to do it with. So if they say no, then it's no.
Mm-hmm.
And then like a couple of years had passed and I was like, oh, I really wish I could have done that palette, And then all of a sudden, Eric, who owns the company, had contacted me. He said, okay, girl, it's time for your palette. And then I was like,
I love that.
and then I created it and I picked all the colors because the colors was what obviously is the most important thing. And it had to be universal. It has to be universal colors. It's not just picking the normal colors that everybody picks. It had to be for everybody, including olive people like me. So it had to include olive, it had to include red, it had to include pink, it had to include yellow, it had to be inclusive, to be good for Blacks and Indians and Asian, Indian Asians, and all of it has to be inclusive.
Right.
So I love my palette. I can't lie. I'm very proud of my palette. I'm very proud of Graftobian for having the wherewithal to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was before the word inclusion became anything. Do you know what I mean? Like now everybody's like inclusion. Yes. But before that, it because we have been working on it for, a couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. Do you have any tips for other artists who may want to get into working with brands in that way, with developing products? Or
you have to reach out to them.
Yeah.
You have to reach out to them. Now, I know that some people who reach out to companies will have they'll have like a form that goes along with your idea. Like, this is my idea. And, I forgot what it's called. It's not an ND. It's like, it's my idea. I'm giving it to you. If you don't want it, you can't produce it, kind of thing. I know that there are people who do that. I took a chance that Graftobian was going to be cool. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's the thing I would say is, if you feel like a company pretty well, and remember, pro companies are small companies. They're not like Revlon. Do you know what I'm saying? They're not like these big conglomerates. With smaller pro companies, you get to meet the people. So I felt comfortable in giving them my idea, and them not running away with it.
Right.
But that's the thing I would say is, like, if you don't know a company very well and you're just like blindly going in, then I would definitely say, for one, reach out on LinkedIn and ask the process of how to submit an idea. Okay, that's the thing, right? Because remember, if you're going to a bigger conglomerate, there's too many heads. So how do I have an idea for your company? How would I submit it to your company? Honestly, I would then probably ask a lawyer to write up maybe a page contract for you before you submit your idea, because I have heard horror stories of people submitting ideas to people and they just ran away with it and didn't give credit, didn't do anything. Right. I was shocked when Graftobian was like, we want to put you on the box. We want to put your face on the box. I was like, what? And then I fought them. Like, I was like, no, I don't want my face on the box. No. And they were like, yeah, girl, we want your face on the box. I no. So they literally, that picture, they pulled off the internet. But I'm glad they did. Now I'm glad they did. You know what I mean? But they're a cool company. They're sweet. They're just a really lovely bunch of people. Thank God. So protect yourself when you have ideas. And so those were the things that I would say to do. Thank God I didn't have to do that. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I would definitely say, going forward in my head, I would do what I just said to do.
That's great advice. Do you also, one of my friends reached out to me last week and she asked me, girl, do you have any tips for overcoming imposter syndrome? And I actually did like a whole podcast episode on imposter syndrome and like some tips, but do you have any tips for people who are going through imposter syndrome? Like, they don't believe their success is real, even though they have reached the success, and they kind of like doubting themselves as to if they deserve certain opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, do we ever get over that?
It's like a wave, like,
I mean, sometimes it's strong. Sometimes it can be very strong. And then sometimes it just kind of goes away for me. I think the strongest it was, do you have time? I'll tell you a quick story.
Yeah.
don't think I've told this David. I don't know if I told this David LaChapelle story. Anyway, I was assisting Sharon Gold first. She was my first person I assisted, by the way. So I had assisted Sharon on this very cool David LaChapelle shoot. It was a couple of days. And at the time, when we first started the shoot, I love the story because David wouldn't speak to me. Like Mr. LaChapelle, he would not speak to me. And he wouldn't look at me. Like I'm talking to him and, and he would be like, is there a gnat? Is there a bug? Something, like he wouldn't even look at me. He wouldn't talk to me. And I was like, okay. And then all hell broke loose on this particular set. And he just started to come over to me and ask me, can you do XYZ for me? And I was just like, I'm an assistant. And this is honest to God, girl. This is my first time assistant. Okay. And I was just like, well, I only have a small kit today because I'm assisting Sharon. He was like, yeah, well, can you do blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, I can try. And so I did it. So anything he asked me that day, I did. He kept coming to me. Each time I did something, he was like, well, let me ask her if she could do this. So I did that. So at the end of the shoot, in the beginning of the shoot, he wouldn't talk to me. He wouldn't look at me. At the end of the shoot, when you leave a David LaChapelle set, you normally line up to say goodbye. It's like meeting the queen, right? So you line up to say goodbye. So I'm lining up and I'm still, even though we are cool now, I'm still like this. I'm like, oh God, okay. And then at the end of the shoot, he hugged me and he gave me a kiss on my cheek and he was like, thank you so much. You did such a great job. You really helped us. Da, 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 da. So I was like, what just happened?
Right.
I'm like, what? And I was like, and then like a couple weeks later, David LaChapelle comes across the phone and I'm like, oh, did I do something? Oh my God, I must have done something. Did I figure, because I had to go to the store. I did, get receipts. So I said, I thought I turned in all my receipts. Why are they calling me? This is guy from David LaChapelle's office. David would like you to come in to do a shoot. And I was like, oh, cool, thank you. So I was like, oh, who am I assisting today? And he was like, no, you. And I was like, no, you are principal. And I was like, what? I didn't even understand what that meant. So I was like, me? And he was like, yeah. He said, it's very much like what we did the day you were here. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I could do that. And then, so for the first couple of days, I was like, yeah. But as the days got closer, I started sweating and I started panicking and I was making myself sick. And I was like, oh, he don't want me. This is not the right person. He couldn't possibly want me. And then I'm sitting there looking, sitting there going back and forth. I'm like, oh Lord, I'm gonna walk into that set and he's gonna yell at me. He's gonna tell me get off the set. And I'm just like, I'm breaking down the sweats and I'm making myself sick. And then I get there and I'm like, oh, the whole day, I'm like, oh God, this is going to be bad. This is going to be so bad. This is going to be so bad. So we walk up, I'm walking up the steps. I'm, oh God, oh my God. Then I get in and I'm almost in tears and I'm almost sweating profusely. Yeah. And he's there and he sees me. I'm like, oh God, brace yourself. He's going to curse you out. And he was like, hey. And I was like, me? He said, hey, I'm so glad you can make it. I was like, oh.
So he really did mean to call me.
He really did mean me. And that's what imposter syndrome is that feeling like I'm not worthy, and I wasn't worthy. I was a newbie, I wasn't worthy. But at the same time, it just was like, but he actually did ask for you. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a fluke. He asked for you. And I just was like, wow, and I think that was like the very first time in my life that I had that sinking death. That sinking feeling, it couldn't have been me. So look, I'm sweating. It couldn't be me. Every time I think about that story, I start to sweat because that's how I feel like, oh my God, it could not be me. He couldn't want me. He couldn't want me. And that's what that imposter syndrome is. I'm not the right person. But that was the worst I ever had of it. And every now and then something will happen and I'll just say, I can't believe that I got the opportunity to do that. Not so much like I'm not worthy. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because I think once you work so long and so hard, and you will say, yeah, I'm worthy. Like, damn, I work my ass off. I think that's the thing is like we work so hard and we're so in our heads, and it's so singular for us, right? It's not like being in corporate America, you got all these people. It's and you get the reviews every year or every 6 months where they tell you you're doing good. You know, so you don't know.
Yeah.
And so when sometimes these great opportunities come up, you think, oh my God, it can't be me. But you know, we have to realize that we have worked so hard for what we get and the recognition that I tend to take it in, not like I walk around and say, I am so great. It's not that for me, but it's like, but DeShawn, I do have to remind myself every now and then, but DeShawn, you have accomplished a lot. Like, it's cool. And then I talk myself into it for 2 seconds and no, okay, I got it. You know, so yes, do I have it? It happens for like 2 seconds with me. And I have to remind myself that I am worthy of what somebody's offering me. I've worked my ass off to get it, and I'll take it.
Yes, thanks for sharing that. When things aren't going right in your life, or you know,
you see me sweating. Look, I literally broke out into sweat every time I think about that David LaChapelle, so I break out into a sweat.
Like PTSD.
It just always gets me. I'm sorry. Go ahead, honey.
No, like when things aren't going right as a makeup artist, we have like our seasons or our times when things are slow, things are like popping, then things slow down. You might be broke one minute, then you the next. Like, how do you get yourself like out of those slumps when that happens, or what fuels you to keep on going and know that, okay, this is just a period of time and things are going to get better?
Because it's just a period of time. Yeah, I always look at it that way. If I'm not working, if the phone isn't ringing, it's not my time. Do you see? Instead of, I think the us senior artists, I think we set up this misnomer for newbies or semi-newbies that we are always working, we are always popping. You know, like I think I see it now. I wrote something on my Instagram to say to newbies and not so newbies that if you're not on a jet right now and you're not flying around with your celebrity artists, what you do is still very important. You know, and when you see them flying off in a jet and when you see them sipping the champagne, you think they're doing that every day. That's what you see. So you think it happens all the time. I can tell you now, knowing many of them, they're not working every day either. You know, they are having dry spots as well. It happens. And so I'm realistic to the point of I'm not going to be working every day. I get it. I thought I would be, but it just the business doesn't work like that. Yeah. You know, there would be times though that I'll work a lot, you know, like you just working. And then all of a sudden, nothing. And that's the business, you see? So once you understand that part of the business, then you can kind of calm down when you have downtime. Then you calm down. You say, okay, my phone isn't ringing. But you also have to say, what can I do? What have I not done to make that phone ring? Have I stopped reaching out to people? Have I stopped like doing research? Have I not updated my website? You know, all these things that we're supposed to be doing, but while we're so busy, we don't do. So, you know, it's that thing, but I just know that there's downtime. And especially in fashion, come like December, January-ish, that's dead. It's dead. Because the models are gone, the models go back home, you know, so you know during that time you're not working that much. But it is what it is. But when you're new, you don't know that. And when you're new, you are looking to these celebrity artists, especially with Instagram now, it makes everything worse. And you're looking at their career and you're thinking, well, if they're working all the time, why am I not? And it's like, they're not. They're not. You know, don't let it fool you. They're not working all the time. They have downtime like you have downtime. They just don't tell you.
Exactly.
But everybody has downtime.
Yeah. So do you like go out and get a job so you won't be late on your rent?
Well, that's but that's the other thing about being in this business is when I was in corporate America, I would spend my money the way I spend my money. I could, you know, like do whatever I want. Now in this business, you just don't run around spending your money on everything. You have to have a savings. You can't just, you know, listen, I learned the hard way. I had in the first couple of years, it was hard. It was so hard because I still was in that corporate America mode where if you, I say this all the time, if you say you're going to pay me, then I'm expecting my check. And then all of a sudden you don't realize, right? You don't realize that the check is either 30 to 60 days late or you didn't get it at all. And so it's just something that you have to be prepared for in this business. So I learned to stop spending my money like a crazy person and have a little nest egg for maybe even a month. Maybe I'm not doing anything in a month. It could happen. You have to be prepared to be able to pay your bills. You cannot run around like you did when you had a corporate job. You cannot do that. This is a different world. Freelancing, it's because we're freelancers. It's a completely different world out here, you know. But like I said, please don't think the senior artists are always working and always on jets, because we are not. Especially if you see celebrity artists, right? If they only have that one client, I'm only picking this celebrity because she's so out there all the time. But J-Lo, most of the time J-Lo has Scott Barnes do her makeup. Well, when J-Lo's not working, sometimes you don't see Scott doing anything because that's her person most of the time. So when she's down, he's down. Right? Or sometimes you can have an exclusive contract with people and they don't want you to work with anybody else. Right. See, and when you're down, you're down. So there's a lot of things. There's just a lot of things. So don't get it twisted.
Yeah, I guess that's why you see these artists too coming out with product lines and like doing other things too to bring in income.
You need to bring in extra income. A book brings in extra income. A palette brings in extra income. Teaching brings in extra income. All of those things bring in extra income. You see? So it's not like I'm just sitting here like nothing. It's like it's like any business. You have to have I forgot what they say. Not residual. Not residual, just the words they use. My brain just farted like crazy. But you have to have additional sources of income when you do this job, you know. That's why it's so important. That's why you see so many people teaching and you see so many people, like you said, with product lines, and there's other things that you can do behind the scenes that will get you money, you know. So you have to think of other ways to make money. Okay. You must. It's important. Or stop spending your money like a crackhead.
Yeah, gotta choose.
You gotta choose.
Yeah. So DeShawn, what are you working on your legacy to be, or what do you want your legacy to be for the industry, or just in general, what you want people to say about you one day?
Oh, I just want them to say, oh, she was so nice. I don't know. It hasn't, I'm not finished. So I don't know. I like the fact that I have created two things that have changed the industry. I didn't realize that was going to be me. So I really do like the fact that I created two things that literally changed the industry. Like, that's crazy to me. It's like cuckoo crackhead crazy to me that I did that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's, girl, you stumped me. I maybe because I'm not done yet. I'm not finished. So I don't know. Yeah, that, you know, I like people to think that I am a game changer maybe, and I pay attention. I think that's the most important thing to me, is I actually care. And through caring about people, this is what happens when you care about people. Create a palette because you care that you want your people of color to actually look like themselves. I care greatly about that. I care greatly about my assistants and all assistants all over the world getting it right so they don't blow their opportunity. So it comes from caring about people. Yeah.
Yes. So do you have anything coming up next? Any classes, any expansions to your line? Like, what's going on?
I have so much stuff coming up, and her ass has been so lazy, but I do have as you can see, this is all tatted up because I have a new, is this upside down? It sure is. I have a new version of Assisting Rules coming out. Assisting Rules, but I call it Assistant Rules 2.0. So we have a new version coming out, many more pages. We included film and television, motion, I call it. We included that business in here because I had a lot of film people who love the book, but I was like, they would ask me questions and I'm like, oh, you know what? I should have put that in the book. And then we have runway in here as well that we've added to explain even further. And we have a quote from Sam Fine in the book.
Okay.
If anybody knows me, they know how obsessed I am about Sam Fine, like crazy. I just love him so much. So yeah, so I'm very, very, very proud of it. It's coming out soon. And it will be ebook. It will be ebook, people, please. Like, I know you got to like DeShawn. I'm not paying that. The reason why it's an ebook is because I have people from all over the world buying the book, but I know that it could cost $30 to ship it. And so that's another reason why I was like, I got to get it in ebook, but I knew that I wanted to add more information. So that book is coming out ebook form first, and hopefully it should be in the next month or two. And then the hard copy will be coming out the new year. Yay. So I'm very excited about that. And then my classes are going up soon for education, training and education. So that'll go up soon. You can even just go to assistingrules.com and that education will come up in just about a week. Yeah, man. And then I have other things up my sleeve, but I don't like to tell people until it's kind of like, until I talk to myself about it. And then I figure it out. I percolate.
Yes, I love that. That's so exciting. All the things coming. I look forward to it for sure. Who do you think would make a great guest on the podcast?
Sam Fine.
Can you help me? Can you help me? Oh my God. I have reached out to him and his team.
I love him. So I'm really like, listen, I'm a fangirl. I really, really, really like, I love him so much. You know who else would be an amazing person for you to talk to? My girl, the one, the only Miss Valerie Noble. If you don't know who she is, that's an issue. You know why? Because there's something called celebrity makeup artist, right? Okay, right? This woman has worked on everybody. I'm like, I can't, like, her resume is redonkulous. It's just, It's ridiculous how many people she worked on. She would be somebody, I think, that would be a fascinating conversation with. She is a true, like, you know how people that I'm a celebrity makeup artist. I worked on one person and I powdered them, right? She has worked. I don't even know. I can't even keep up with the amount. But right now, her job is working with, why do I do this all the time? Because I want to say Viola, but it's not Viola, it's the other one. Octavia. Oh, because they go hand in hand with me with the help. And so if I say Octavia, I mean Viola. If I say Viola, I mean Octavia. I do it all the time. She works with Octavia Spencer. And so everything you've seen Octavia do, 90% of that or 95% of that was Miss Val, my girl, Miss Val. I think she would be an amazing person to talk to. She also runs a magazine called Regard Magazine. And it's like she's in Hollywood. So that's why she gets so many celebrities to come in. They come in and shoot for her magazine. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm telling you, she's a wealth of knowledge. She's been in this industry for a long time. She does film. She is amazing. I think she needs more recognition, and I think you should talk to Val. I think she's amazing.
Definitely gonna talk to her. I'm gonna be persistent and reach out to Sam Fine like 20 more times. You keep being persistent.
Listen, it took me a long time. It took me a long time. Yes, you keep doing it, you get it. I'm telling you, just keep going. Don't let it stop. Listen, years, like decades.
Like I finally got him.
Like decades. I was
like really sad. I told people on the podcast and on my vlog, I was really sad that I didn't get to catch AJ because he was actually supposed to be my 100th episode of the podcast, and he kind of dragged his feet on scheduling the interview. So I was really sad that I didn't get to have that interview with him. But I knew AJ, like I assisted him to like working with his brand and stuff like that. So I was like, dang,
I didn't get to like AJ and I, I don't blow smoke up people's asses. I tell you how it is. So AJ and I weren't friends, but we were acquaintances. You see what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
even as an acquaintance, he was so lovely. He was, you could get this aura off of him of like, he just was a lovely person.
Yeah.
And it broke my heart, you know, to see his passing. It broke my heart because I was like, he just talking to him, we just, you know, like I said, we don't get a chance to hang out because, you know, and so the only time I would ever get a chance to see AJ would be at the shows. And if we both had downtime because he's at his thing and I'm at my thing, we'd finally get together and just be chatting, you know, and he always was just a lovely, lovely man. A lovely man.
Hardworking. That's great.
Yeah. Hardworking is not even. That's not even. I don't even. We got to make up a new word for AJ.
Another
yeah,
level.
He's on another level of hardworking. Like he was just, you know, and he so believed his product, and it was such a beautiful product, and he just was, you know, what you saw, like in terms of like interview wise or anything like that. You know, you work with him. He was just lovely. I keep saying that over and over again. Some people are kind to me. He was just lovely. Yeah. And to know that we don't have someone like this on our earth anymore is very disturbing. Like we need him.
I might have to call somebody if I go to the makeup show and they go to the AJ Crimson booth and be like, I want to work with AJ. Where's AJ?
Oh, please don't do that. Oh, please don't do that. Oh, please. Oh,
I might have to fight somebody.
Oh, please don't do that. But yeah, his passing, that was like, I was just like, what? That was hard. That was very hard.
Yeah, very, very.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing this. I'm enjoying this conversation so much. People know, like, if I have like a senior artist on the show or a senior anything, I would run my mouth. That's why I asked you before, like, do you have a time constraint? Because I would just talk. I just love this.
No, thank you. I'm so sorry. You know, I apologize to you on the air. Listen, people, she wrote me and then I messed it up and I was like, I'm supposed to be interviewing with this young lady here, and my brain went bloop. So I'm glad that she asked me again. Yes. See, but she's teaching you persistence is key.
I'm telling you.
If you don't persist, you will not get it.
Okay. But before you go, I have to ask you the Friends in Beauty rapid fire questions. Okay. So whatever comes to your mind first, people get serious. They sit up straight. Okay. They're like game time. So whatever comes to your mind first, just spit it out. Okay. All right. So what are the top 3 keys to your success so far?
Girl, that's not rapid fire. You make people think. That's a thinking question. What's the 3 keys? Patience, which I normally don't have any. Persistence, I'm real pushy. And I guess having some skill. Okay. How do you measure your success? I'm not done yet. I'm okay for now. Is it like money? Is it how you make people feel? The impact that you have? Jesus, these are not easy. How do I measure success? Accomplishment? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What's the best advice you received or a piece of advice that just always stuck with you? What? The piece that's, well, I mean, obviously the one that the teacher told me, everybody's around me, but I think was just generally I feel like Mr. Rogers taught me, just be kind to people. I think that's important. I think to be kind. Yeah. Really important. I agree. What advice would you give to another makeup artist right now who is just ready to give up? Like they are done. They're not seeing the success that they want to see. And they're thinking like, this might not be for me. Oh, then I got 2. One, if you can't do it anymore, if it hurts you, because sometimes it can physically like make you sick. If it's making you that ill, then stop doing it completely. Take a break, reassess your life kind of thing. Stop doing it. That's how I was in corporate America. I was physically ill sitting at my desk and I said, I can't do this anymore. So I don't want people living with that. But the other thing I have to say is when you reach that point, you have to ask yourself, did I do all the steps that I was supposed to do? Have I been updating my website? Have I been reaching out? Have I been going to industry parties? Have I been testing? Have I been, you see, there are things that we're supposed to do. And again, I think, because of the onslaught of Instagram and all this, you don't think you have to. And there are things that you have to do. And then sometimes when you don't do one or two little things, your career can kind of get stagnant. Yeah. So that, and the other thing I want to say about that is this misconception of fame and stuff. Why are you here? Why did you want to do this in the first place? Are you trying to be famous? Because if that's the case, then be an influencer, okay? Right. If you want to be a makeup artist, that ain't got nothing to do with fame. I know you think it does because you see famous people like a Sam Fine and all these people, but they're of a different echelon. You know what I mean? They are icons, right? So that's not what, if that's not what you want to be, if you don't want to be an influencer, then if you want to be a makeup artists are behind the scenes. We're not the stars. Okay, so you have to decide on what it is that you're trying to do. And again, influencers are great. And be an influencer. Influencers are different. That's a whole different thing. Yeah. You know, don't look at influencers and think that they're makeup artists because they're not. You see, don't do that because that'll mess you up. And that's the whole thing with the Instagram and all that stuff. Social media has messed up makeup artistry because you have these people sitting in their bedrooms doing makeup and now, you know, they're famous and making all this money. And you think, well, I'm a makeup artist, but you know, it's just not the same thing. Yeah.
Yes, excellent advice. Oh my gosh. What's a resource that helps you in your business that you could share with the friends and beauty community?
I never stop reading about business. I always read business. I always read some form of business, whether it's just picking up Forbes magazine and reading, you know, how to interview. Yeah, I maybe it's because I'm from corporate America and my background is more like banking or whatever, but I like to read about business. I love to read about startup businesses. Yeah, I feel like you have to be educated in that area because you won't make it here. It's a business. The first thing is makeup artist is a business. You're more of a business 90% of the time, and you're 10% of the time you're doing this. So you have to realize that this is a business. This ain't no playtime. This is business. And so I really do like to read and look at a lot of business TV shows and stuff like that because it's a business.
Okay. All right. And the last one, I just want you to fill in the blank and say, my name is blank. And the key to longevity and success is whatever you think it is.
These things are thought-provoking. Oh my God. Okay. Oh my God. The key to longevity. Okay. Let me see. I don't know what to say, but I know my name. Now I'm trying to figure out how to answer that question. Okay. So my name is DeShawn Hatcher. And the key to longevity. Oh, this is hard. The key to longevity. I don't know. The key to longevity would be knowing your business. Yeah, I don't know. Knowing your business.
Yeah, know your business and do your research.
Yeah, well, you know how big I'm on research. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Before you go, share your social media information or however you want people to connect with you and assisting rules when it comes back out. All the things.
Yeah. Assisting rules, by the way, will be everywhere. I used to hoard it for myself but now it's going to be sold on Amazon. It's going to be sold all over the world. So everybody can get it. Y'all can stop asking me. I decided to release it. I said, you have to stop hoarding it for yourself and you have to release it, DeShawn, you hoard. So assisting rules will be on Amazon and everywhere. So that's great. And you can always go to assistingrules.com. Because I still will be using that site and I will be having books, you know, signed and stuff you can get from there. And then, I don't know, DeShawn Hatcher is everywhere. So my name is everywhere. So it's on Instagram and it's on Twitter, even though I'm not a Twitter person, but it's on all my social media. It's just straight DeShawn Hatcher. And then Facebook, I have 2, which is DeShawn Hatcher and DeShawn Hatcher Makeup Artist. But I'm really DeShawn Hatcher everywhere.
Okay.
I mean, and I have a blog, whatever, but you can just go to DeShawnHatcher.com. That's my actual professional website. You can go there. Instagram is not professional. Instagram is my fun time. And I like to speak to my fellow makeup artists through Instagram. I do more posting in terms of writing something maybe inspirational, but I don't really post photos. If you want to see my work, go to my professional website.
Absolutely. Yay. Thank you so much, DeShawn.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to the Friends in Beauty podcast. Don't forget, sharing is caring. Share this episode with at least one friend in beauty, and subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts so that other friends in beauty can find this show. Plus, we'd love to hear your feedback. Connect with us on all social media platforms at Friends in Beauty, #Friends in Beauty to join the conversation, and join our Friends in Beauty Facebook community to stay connected. Talk to you soon.